are gathered here for this forum entitled Appointment of Local Councillors and Local Elections. And this forum has been called for because of the recent development in the local council elections. Local council non-election appointments by the government. And there is this calling for feedback from the public and from leaders of the community to have their say or opinion regarding what's going on.
In the Star, we gave a press statement and we say that we observed that some of the NGO and professional appointees holding party positions are put into the NGO quota, and there's no consultation with the community on councillors' appointment. In fact, when I spoke to them and say, no, can we have an appointment to discuss about this, they say that no, they're not allowed to. We urge the state government to strictly follow the allocation and appoint credible NGOs and professionals who have proven track records as councillors. And if there's any removal of NGO professional councillors, let us know. So that is a proper due process. So I think what we are doing is trying to make sure that processes, transparent processes, effective processes are actually put in. That's the thing that we want. So our main objective is that we want to retain the community voice. We are hoping to get 25% NGO councillors in the council, and this would mean that we have an independent voice that keep on reminding them of our local problems.
There is no political will at the top, at the bigger level, to reintroduce what your mother went through and some of our older generation. We had that third vote in our hands. We like you or we didn't like you, we had a voice. But now that voice is sort of not there for the last 40 over years. And in the last 2 years, Selangor introduced this percentage as a temporary measure. And I'm using the word temporary, meaning that that cannot be the way. It's a temporary measure because, as Jeffrey said, our call is we want to restore local council election.
I remember when this local council election was dissolved. Alright, Tunku Abdul Rahman did promise the people of Malaysia that when things were better, we'll go back. And nobody looking at that. That things are all cut in somewhere in the newspapers. And nobody seemed to looking and say, what did Tunku Abdul Rahman say? Why are we not going back to saying that? He said it. Why is the present government not following what he said?
And I think our call for local council elections is not a call for Selangor or Penang. It's a call for all 13 states to restore local council election.
Instead of pressing for 25%, we could just say 25%, we are very disappointed. But now, let's go back to the local council election. The time frame, 2012.
From an NGO point of view, the Selangor government took over, the doors open. So say, this is our chance. It's going to happen, it must at least happen now more than any time. If not, we'll never have it. Like the FOI bill now federal government is running, because whatever federal government say now is going to look bad, because they are the ones who are going to say no, we cannot, or they're going to challenge it in court. But in any case, we have FOI for the first time.
I agree that we should not, when you meet the Menteri Besar, we should not be talking about the 25% quota, and I think forget it totally and tell them we wasted our time listening to you 25%. We want election.
Now, as for local council election, I got my reservations here. To me, local election is a costly affair. And we are talking about 24 councillors to be elected in the municipality, assuming one person costs $1 million to campaign. I'm not going to go in, man, who's going to finance me? If I go in to be voted as a councillor, I'm not going to come up with $1 million.
There is this racial undercurrents regarding local elections. Yeah? That maybe in spirit, the Pakatan rakyat, they feel that it's a good thing, but then they are really dragging their feet because maybe the past PKR think that they're going to lose their Malay base, because urban areas are mainly Chinese lah.
So the not ready and the too expensive argument doesn't jive. And even my friends' point about having to spend a lot of money, not true, as Gerard mentioned. In the last elections, some of the candidates that were elected had no money at all. I can name names, they had no money, and yet they were elected against very rich and powerful opponents.
The principle
Yeah.
on the election or transparency, accountability is not only about the will to do it using money or budget. It's about the empowerment of the community in the grassroots and also for them to engage in the governance. So it's a part of the process of election.
The ethnic issue, even that I find not valid, although I'm sure that's been raised. Because take PJ as an example. I think the population in PJ is about 40% Malay, 60% non-Malay. Even appointed list now, it's something like that. In fact, I tend to argue that if you have elections, especially in the urban centers, it is likely that you may have more Malay representation. Because I think in the urban areas, professionals, middle class people, they look more at a person's capability, really. And at the local level, you would be in a much better position to know your candidates.
Whatever we do as an NGO, we should not be seen to undermine the state government, because the other side will capitalize on this.
You go to the Menteri Besar with a warm hand. You do not fight him, because we are the ones who put them there. You have to educate them the importance of these two organizations and why these two organizations need to put NGOs as councillors to check balances. Maybe even you can ask him for another 25% from the RA, because they are the ones who are the voices of people, the RPs and the RA.
How I would see it is that local government should be less politicized. You want to have your party fighting, you fight over parliament seats, you fight over dole seats. Local government, there should be the minimum politicians there. It should be RAs, it should be youth, it should be the whatever organization, disabled organization, you know. It should be them who are running the local government, not politicians. You know.
Maybe in your next meeting with the MP, as a kind of gesture of really wanting to bring about change and be partners of change, the word Jeffrey brought was partnership. Have a session with all the aduns and the state exco. Why and what is good governance? I don't think many of them really understand. I'm very serious about this. Many of them really don't understand.
So what I'm about to suggest is, in addition to trying to shake a warm hand tomorrow, I would also suggest that the NGOs follow up with the head of PKR, DAP, and PAS. Because if that was a political move, then these three people would have known or would have been involved in this process. And the MB is just executing their political wishes.
I think there were some interesting things with regard to local council elections. The state government had already, according to him, made a commitment that the JKKK elections will convene ASAP. JKKK is at the new village and village level. It's the Jawatan Kuasa Kampung Kecil Kampung. So I feel that one of the things we talk about with the MB is really to make this happen and how this can happen and what, and not to get bogged down in terms of like, oh, it's going to cost a lot, so we need to stagger it, etc., etc. But we should already start strategizing and discussing how these JKKK elections can actually be the predecessor to maybe a local council election in one of the bigger councils. And the other thing Ronnie did say was that they are experimenting with a partial elections of councillors, and most probably it will be PJ.
Finally, I just want to underline one important point, that at all times, I feel that the key to us getting our ways is to be united. Unless they can see that we are a united force, then they say that, no, without teeth, I don't need to listen to you.
So I feel that at the end of the day, it's not the money, it's not the difficult process, and it's not that whether these people, they sit down there and they will get more dirty, and this is what you and I don't want to see, and that is where this election process is one of the platform, one of the processes for us to push for a better, cleaner Malaysia.